Hey, what's up? I'm Casey and this is CaseyReacts. Today I'm going to be going through r/lifeprotips on Reddit. Life Pro Tips gives various advice on really anything that you could want. Cars, work, food, life in general. You got it. So if you're looking for advice or have any good advice you want to give, go straight to Life Pro Tips. Alright, let's get right into it. Don't be fooled by the working for a dream company ideology. You'll be much better off with an amazing boss at an average company who champions your work, allows you to develop mastery in your field, and gives you autonomy. Well, first things first, a dream job isn't real. There's no such thing as a dream job. You see, a job is somewhere you go to make money and work until you die. So a dream job is really counterintuitive. I mean, at the very least, I personally think that the term dream job was really coined to make us feel a lot less worse about working our lives away. However, I do think that there are professions that are a lot better to work in than others. If you can get into a profession that it treats you well and doesn't hurt your body, doesn't hurt your mental health, then great. Absolutely go for it. This life pro tip is accurate, saying, yeah, you are going to be much better off with that amazing boss. You're going to be much better off if your boss respects you, they pay you well, and they let you do your thing. Most of your friends will be temporary, and that's okay. Not every friendship needs to be, I'll love you till the end. Some of them only last for a few months, and that's an upright reality. Yeah, friends are a good part of life, but friends come and friends go. That's still a part of life. You can't really expect all of your friends to stick around to the very end. People move, people have career changes, hell, people have ideology changes. You can grow up with someone, absolutely love them to death, then one day, they start falling down a rabbit hole. Then they're in the Q conspiracy. They start thinking, the vaccines are bad. They're trying to hurt us, they're trying to control, and then you lose a friend. That's most of the time by your choice, sometimes by their choice. But either way, if you're starting to drift apart from a friend, it's always good to try and reconnect with them, but sometimes it's just going to happen. They're just going to go away, and you got to be okay with that. When asked at the last minute to work later on a weekend, simply reply, I can't. Don't offer reasons that can be countered. You'd be surprised at how effective it is. I didn't learn this until my 40s, but I've passed this advice on to my kids and my nephew. My nephew, who is very timid about telling his boss he couldn't work, finally used this tactic, and it worked like a charm. Yeah, this is absolutely correct. You don't owe your boss any explanation. If you're not scheduled for that day, they can't force you to come in. They'll try to guilt you to come in, but you have no obligation to come in. If they didn't schedule you for it, it's not your problem. You can say, I can't, and technically, they can't really press the issue. They do it a lot, but they're not supposed to. They're supposed to take I can't as the, okay, we're not going to ask you again. So, if you have a boss that's like that, whenever you don't want to work on a day that you're not scheduled to come in, but they need you to come in, here's what you do. Tell them, sorry, I'm 3 beers deep if you're over 21. If you're over 21. But if you tell them that you've had anything to drink, legally, you can't drive. So if they were to try and push the issue and still force you to come in, well, you can probably call the Department of Labor on them and get them into a lot of trouble. Companies will not risk that. So probably just start with I can't, or I'm not going to, or even just I have plans. They are not entitled to know anything. But if they keep pressing, say, look, I'm already drinking, and it'll work like a charm. They're not going to ask you anymore. Another alternative is just tell them, look, I always plan out my day. I always know exactly what I'm going to do whenever I'm off work. I make those plans ahead of time. They can't ask you to change your plans either. Well, technically they can ask you, but you can tell them to go shove it. Apologize to your children when required. Admitting you're wrong is what teaches them to have integrity. There are a lot of parents with the philosophy of what I say goes. I'm the boss. Everyone bow down to me. I can do no wrong. Children learn by example, and they pick up on so many nuances, I'm going to try and say this word, minutiae, and unspoken truths. You aren't fooling them into thinking you're perfect by refusing to admit mistakes. You're teaching them that to apologize is to be shameful and should be avoided at all costs. You can't treat a child one way and then expect them to comport themselves in the opposite manner. Completely true. If you don't want your kids to lie, don't lie to your kids. If you don't want your kids to drink whenever they're older, don't drink around your kids, or better yet, don't drink at all. If you don't want your kids to do X, don't do X. Kids are going to learn. Kids are going to pick up, and kids will call you out on it. Kids will call you out every single time on being very hypocritical. Hell, me and my brothers have called out my dad on being hypocritical. Like, right to his face, told him, hey, you're being a hypocrite. And you know what? Depending on who it is, it can be a real eye-opener and help. But don't do the things you don't want your children to do. That's the main point trying to be made here. Apologize, admit your mistakes, don't be a hypocrite. When picking an airline seat, consider selecting the row in front of the emergency exits. Children are not allowed to sit behind you and won't have to worry about getting your seat kicked. One tip that is very unethical and might get your ass kicked: if you have a child kicked in the back of your seat on a plane, just look over and say to the mother or father, "You and your family smell a lot better than the people that sat behind me last time." I can almost guarantee you they will request a seat change if there's anything available. Boom. No more kids kicking your seat, and possibly no more breathing without a tube depending on how big the father is. Unless they positively inspire you to become better, unfollow anyone on social media that makes you feel like you aren't good enough. You don't need to be someone else. The world needs who you were meant to be. ETA. I didn't mean to come off as saying you shouldn't change, because change is good. Just become your better self, not curated and based on influencers on social media. I have never agreed with a statement more. Don't be the Jenners, the Kardashians. Don't try to be them, because literally being anything else short of a serial killer is better than that. You can trade your time for money, but you can never buy your time back. Keep quality of life in mind with all decisions. I partially disagree with this one. I think if you have enough money, you can definitely buy that time back. No, you can't reverse your age, but you know what? You can pay for anything to make you healthier and last longer. You can pay for all the most healthy foods, great gym, personal trainers, everything. Whatever you need, you can do it if you have enough money. Now your life expectancy is skyrocketing, and now, you know what? You have that time back. It's not exactly the same time, but you're buying yourself extra time. If your car is totaled in a wreck, you can counter the payout amount the insurance offers. My car is rear-ended by a commercial refrigerated truck and completely totaled. The wreck wasn't my fault, and when the other driver's insurance sent over a payout amount, I was surprised at just how much below book value their offer was. I didn't know that you're allowed to counter their offer until I searched for why the payout was so low. You can search cars for sale near you that are comparable to yours and send back a counteroffer. The comparable cars the insurance listed didn't have several features of my car, and I would have sold myself short by accepting their first offer. Negotiating the payout settled is an additional $2,000. No harm in trying. Another commenter on this post had mentioned, hey, you know what? If you have classic cars, you can get even more money. Apparently their classic car was totaled, and their offer that they sent over was well over what they actually paid for that car. So it really just depends on what kind of car you have. If you have a really, really nice car, they're probably going to send over a much higher offer than you would expect. If you have a 98 Toyota Camry, you're probably not going to get that big of an offer, and you're going to have to try and negotiate. Before buying a pet, try taking a good look at pictures of the grown-up animal online. Baby animals always trigger a nurturing response, which is lost when they get older, and is one of the reasons why people give up their pets. Now after lockdown, it seems we hear more and more about people giving back their lockdown puppy, but this is actually something that's been happening for a long time. Baby animals, humans, as well as cats, dogs, etc., follow something that's called the Kindchenschema. The Kindchenschema. I'll call it that. It consists of big heads, big eyes, small limbs, and generally things we find cute. This has evolved in biology to increase the activity in a certain brain region, leading to a nurturing response in grown-up individuals. Puppies and kittens also follow the Kindchenschema, and therefore also trigger this response. Many people love puppies and kittens because they're cute. Due to this biological and psychological effect, we get the urge to care for them. However, this Kindchenschema, I swear to God they gotta stop using that word. However, this Kindchenschema disappears as the animal ages, and with it, our response to it. This can lead to people suddenly not wanting to care for a pet anymore. Therefore, before buying a puppy or kitten, go look up at the grown-up versions of your pet breed of choice, and think about if you want to care for that as well. If you feel like you just want a puppy but don't feel like you want the grown-up version, it might not be better to get a pet. If you're unsure whether you want the grow-up version, chances are after having cared for the pet so long, you might even feel more averse to it when they grow up. Please, always make sure you have the time and love for your pet at all stages in his life. Here's a link to the unfortunately very short Wikipedia article on the Kindchenschema. Short at it after waking up for 2 points. 1. My family has an amazing grown-up dog, and I wouldn't give her up for the world. She's the most precious, beautiful, intelligent, and amazing creature out there, and I love her so much. It's true many pet owners love their pets, even when they're growing up, but taking a look at how many animals there are in shelters, it's obvious that that's not everyone. 2. As people have pointed out, before buying, adopting is definitely the better option. We got our first dog from a farm after she was found by them on the street and would have been euthanized, and there were never any regrets. I miss her so much. Yeah, just know that if you get a pet and then take it back after it gets older because it's not a cute baby anymore, you are literally a trash person and don't deserve any kind of animal or love in your life. I will not apologize for that. Secondly, I kind of have a bone to pick with this post. You see, they said that they have a dog and she's the most precious, beautiful, intelligent, and amazing creature out there. I don't really like that because obviously my cat is the most amazing, beautiful creature out there. So one of us has got to be lying. It's them. They're the one that's lying. My cat's better. If you don't want to forget something in the morning, put it in your shoes the night before. This is great for items that will fit in your shoes, but remember, if you have to take your kid to soccer practice in the morning, don't put them in your shoes. Leave a note on the door. Your kid will not fit in your shoes and they won't appreciate being put in your shoes. They probably stink. Not sure if I'm talking about the shoes or the kid, but maybe both. Cry in a cemetery if you don't have a place to cry quietly. It's expected in that environment and you won't be causing a scene, and more likely, it'll be empty. I mean, if I gotta cry, I'm not gonna go onto Google Maps and look up the nearest cemetery. I'm probably just gonna cry where I am. I mean, if you live in a big city, cemeteries are probably a little bit farther away anyway. Are you really gonna hold it in during LA traffic? I don't think so. If you find yourself living out of your car or homeless due to high housing costs, get a gym membership. You can stay in shape, give yourself a way to pass the time indoors, and have access to their men's and women's rooms. Also, pro tip, if you do that, you can be the most jacked homeless guy in the streets, and if that bum fights guy ever comes knocking, you're gonna make a lot of money. House numbers that are visible from the street save lives. Be aware of foliage that may obscure visibility from the street, missing digits, or any other object that may block responders from finding the house number. In 17 years with EMS, I've had many occasions where I've missed an address or had to go around the block because I couldn't see the number, causing a delayed response. GPS mapping software is only so good, so clearly visible numbers is a cheap and easy way to make our lives easier, ensure a faster response, as well as keeping the delivery personnel happy as well. Bonus points for illuminated numbers. Yeah, that's not just for any kind of emergency responders. It's for delivery drivers too. As a previous FedEx guy, if I can't see your number, and if I'm not sure if that's your house, I'm not delivering it. I've had packages where my boss has yelled at me because there is no house with that number on it, and the house numbers in that area, unfortunately, didn't really make sense. So for about a week, that package would come back on my truck every single day until a customer eventually called and said to hold it at the terminal and they'll come pick it up. Make sure you have your house numbers. If your house can't be found, we're not going to deliver it. Don't know why I said we're. I'm not one of them anymore. When talking to someone with differing views on a given subject, ask them questions to learn, not make them defend their positions. You'll gain a friend and a greater understanding of their worldview. For example, if someone's talking to you has a differing view on religion, ask how they feel their faith has impacted their life, or what are their favorite lessons they've learned from it and how they apply it to them in their daily life. Yeah, this weekend I was waiting around as an extra for a web series, and I was talking to one of the guys there who is Jewish, or at the very least, he practices Judaism. He's not Jewish himself, but he practices Judaism and wants to convert fully. So me being on the Christian side of the religion spectrum, I just asked him, hey, what got you into Judaism? Because he said that he was a Christian beforehand, and we just had a good 20-minute long conversation because extras just sit around and wait. We had a really good 20-minute conversation just about his religion and how his worldview has changed based on what that is. How his view of religion in general has changed in what that is. It's really interesting, and you'll learn a lot about people. You'll learn a lot about their motivations. You'll learn a lot about just anything you can. Hell, even asking atheists, hey, why do you believe what you believe? And just having a conversation with them, not an argument. It can really be nice. It's really nice to get other people's perspectives on things. As the summer gets hotter, watch out for your animals and your pets. Make sure they're cool and hydrated. Bring them inside if you can. The heat could be too much for them, and on the hottest days, you might even save their life. If you have a dog, make sure they wear shoes whenever they go out walking if the summer's too hot. If you're not sure if it's going to be too hot, what you do is go out to a sunny area on the ground where the sun's just been shining consistently, touch your hand to it, or better yet, go out barefoot and walk in it. If you can't stand to be out there, then they need some kind of protection before you take them on their walk. And don't forget that whenever it comes to weather, really, it's a good idea to just look at how the animal's reacting. I mean, yeah, you get a Chihuahua out there in like a negative 30-degree blizzard, they're going to need to come inside. They're going to be freezing. But take that same weather conditions and throw out a Husky or a Malamute, St. Bernard, something like that. they're going to be happy, playing, and just loving every second of it. You have to watch your animals' reactions because they know how they're feeling a lot better than you do. Alright, and that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to come back throughout the week for more content. Please like and subscribe to help keep this channel going, and as always, remember to have a great week.